The NCAA College Hockey Tournament starts on Friday, March 27th, and with the Gladiators roster comprised of mostly college hockey players, we thought it would be appropriate to have them fill out some brackets. And we'd like to get you involved as well. Let's go over the rules in terms of what we want to do for this college hockey pick'em. There are 16 teams involved in the NCAA tournament. That's made up of regionals and then semifinals and finals, and that'll be coming in a few weeks in Boston. You'll get a point for each matchup that you correctly predict here in the regional, and then 2 points if you correctly predict the regional finals. You'll get 3 points for every semifinal that you predict correctly. And then the championship game, which is on the Gladiators' final game of the season on April 11th at the TD Garden. For that, you get 4 points if you correctly predict that. And then we'll just have a tiebreaker in the national championship final if we need it. Just pick how many goals that both teams will score. The winner of this tournament amongst the fans will receive one of our $5 Frenzy pieces of merchandise absolutely free. So let's go by round here. The first game that'll take place on Friday, March 27th at 2 o'clock is Boston University against Yale at the Verizon Wireless Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire. Granted, I'm a little biased here. I'm going to pick Boston University to win this one. It's going to be a tough matchup. Yale sports a very good goaltender, but BU is the #1 seed in this region.
Bove, you like Boston University. They have, what's that guy going to be, #2 in the draft or whatever, Eichel. So we'll take Boston University over Yale.
BU and Yale. Oh, you got to go with BU. Just for the sake of I want to see this game in the next round, I'll go BU.
I don't think there's much question about this one. We're going to go with BU.
The next game, happening at 4:30 on Friday in Fargo, North Dakota, is Michigan Tech versus St. Cloud State. Two teams that I'm sure a lot of people don't really know much about. But I'm going to go with Michigan Tech in this one. They've had a good team all year long. They've been ranked one of the top 3 teams for a good portion of the season. So I'm going to pick them over St. Cloud State here.
I thought this was a typo when I first saw it. I didn't know Michigan Tech was still had a program. No, I'm just kidding. We'll take St. Cloud State over Michigan Tech.
I got to train with a guy who goes to Mich Tech. He's a good goalie there, so I think I'll go with Mich Tech. And Michigan Tech finally making it to the tournament in I don't know how many years, going against St. Cloud. It's going to be a tight one, but I'll give Michigan Tech the win there.
We are going to go with the upset in this one and choose St. Cloud State. It's been a while since Michigan Tech's been in. It's always tougher when you get to the tournament.
The next game at 5:30 in Manchester, New Hampshire, Minnesota Duluth against Minnesota. This is a very good matchup between two teams that have a lot going for them. Minnesota has won 5 national championships in their history. Minnesota Duluth won a national championship a few seasons ago. So these are two teams that are doing very well this year. I'm going to give the edge to Minnesota, though.
Nobody likes the Gophers either, especially if you played in the old WCHA. So we'll take Minnesota Duluth, the Bulldogs.
Played Minnesota last year. They're a pretty good team. I'm going to go with Minnesota. And then the obvious choice, Minnesota versus Duluth. Bulldogs are going down. Golden Gophers are coming out on top.
Any team from Minnesota is one that I don't like. Unfortunately, we have to pick one, so I will go with the Golden Gophers, which I'm not proud to say.
Finally on Friday, North Dakota will take on Quinnipiac. North Dakota is the #1 seed in this bracket in Fargo, North Dakota. They're taking on a Quinnipiac team that reached the finals a few seasons ago and lost to Yale. North Dakota has had one of the best teams all year round. They've been struggling as of late. They got upended in their conference finals and in the semifinals as well. They didn't even finish #1 in their own conference in their playoffs. But yet, I'm going to go with North Dakota just because of this matchup.
As much as I hate to say it and it pains me, I don't even know where Quinnipiac is. So we'll take North Dakota in that one.
North Dakota and Quinnipiac. I'm going Quinnipiac upset just because my brother goes to Quinnipiac or going there next year. I can't give anything to North Dakota, so Quinnipiac, they get the win for me.
I honestly don't think that Quinnipiac has the guns against North Dakota. Has been up at the top all year long in the standings, so we will go with North Dakota.
Next, we move on to Saturday, March 28th. The first game going on is going to be Denver at Boston College. Boston College hasn't been having a good year this year, but they've won a lot of national championships as of late. Since 2000, they've basically won 4 national championships. So in this first matchup, it's a little difficult, but I'm going to go with Boston College just based on the history of this team. They seem to turn it around always in the playoffs.
Denver, my alma mater, against everybody's least favorite team in college hockey, Boston College. So we'll take Denver, obviously, over Boston College.
Where is this one being played? No idea. I'll just go with BC. Popular pick.
Never really liked Boston College. Denver, lived there last year, so I gotta go with Denver for this one. I want to choose with my heart and go with Denver, an old WCHA team. But I think at the end of the day, we'll go with the brain. Boston College has been a mainstay in the NCAA tournament for years, so we got to go with BC.
Next, at 4 o'clock, the #1 overall seed, Mankato State. Now, not too many people know about Mankato State. They basically call themselves Minnesota State. They're taking on RIT, the last seed in the bracket. Mankato State is the #1 overall seed, and I think that they're going to easily handle RIT, so I'm going to go with Mankato State.
Is this the club hockey championship? I guess we'll take Mankato on that one.
I think I'm going to have to go with Minnesota State because RIT knocked us out of playoffs. So,
and I'm going to go with Minnesota State Mankato just because they got a good head coach, Mike Hastings, behind the bench. So Mankato. We're going to go with Minnesota State Mankato.
Next at 6:30, Miami of Ohio against Providence. That's going to be a very tough game for the Red Hawks. They're playing in basically Providence's home area. It's not their home arena. That'd be Schneider Arena on the campus of Providence College. But I have a feeling that Providence College is going to turn up in great numbers at the Dunkin' Donuts Center. This is a tough one. I think I'm going to go with Providence upsetting Miami of Ohio.
Miami of Ohio? I think that's like Miami of Florida too? Probably. We'll take Miami of Ohio.
I had no connections to either of these schools. Let's see. We'll go Miami, go the high seed.
Historically, I've liked Miami of Ohio. Always been a pretty good program with a good head coach. I believe the Red Hawks are going to come out on top. It's a program that's been building momentum for the past couple years. So,
finally, the final matchup of the regional section, the first round, so to speak. University of Nebraska at Omaha versus Harvard. Harvard's actually had a quiet, very good season coming out of the ECAC. I haven't heard too much about Omaha, so I'm going to go with Harvard in this one. I just know this school better, and they had a good chance at winning the Bean Pot this year. They almost upset Boston University in the first round. It took double overtime, but BU was able to win it. So I know that Harvard has a very good, very sneaky team.
Another snoozer, so Harvard's got better colors. We'll take Harvard.
Got to go with Omaha on this one.
Don't know much about either. I know UNO has usually been a pretty good program, so I'm going to go with them. I don't know much about either, so we'll go with the intellectuals from Harvard.
Next, we go to the regional finals. We're going to start with the first regional final on March 29th. So of this, I have Providence going up against Boston College. Now, this is a very good matchup as well. I'm going to go with Boston College in this one. Just that motivating factor of they can play basically in their home city at the TD Garden, and the fact that it's March and they always seem to turn things on come March. I'm going to go with Boston College in this one.
Got Miami and Denver. I think they've played 5 or 6 times this year. I think Miami just beat them in the conference playoff, actually. But we'll take Denver again.
Miami, BC, that's a good one. Probably go with, gotta go with BC. We got Miami of Ohio versus Denver. I'm going to go with the old WCHA Denver. I'll give them a go into the tournament.
Miami and BC. Again, BC's that mainstay that finds a way into the Frozen Four every year. But I'm going to go with Miami being the top seed in that one, so we're going to go with Miami.
Next is the Northeast Regional Final in Manchester. It's going to be BU against Minnesota. And that's going to be a very good game as well. Just like BC, Minnesota always finds a way to turn things on. But I think I'm going to go with BU in this one. BU just has everything going for them at this point.
BU against Minnesota Duluth. Take the Terriers.
BU, Minnesota, wow. Jeez, BU, gotta go with BU. And then we have BU versus Minnesota, rematch of the first round from when I was a senior, and I believe we won about 7-3, so it's gonna be a repeat.
BU and Minnesota. Again, two teams that are used to being in the Frozen Four, so this is a tough one for me and one that I grit my teeth a little bit at, but I am going to go with the Golden Gophers upsetting BU.
Next, the Midwest Final. Mankato State is going to go up against Harvard. And I'm going to go with Mankato over this one. Just I think Mankato's going to have some momentum coming over from that game against RIT. I think that they should be able to handle Harvard and move on to the NCAA Frozen Four.
Minnesota State over Harvard.
Minnesota State and Omaha. I gotta go with the 1 seed. Minnesota State. I'm gonna go with Mankato versus Omaha.
Mankato versus Harvard. We are going to go with the old WCHA Mankato on top of Harvard there.
Finally, we go to the West Regional Final. I have North Dakota against Michigan Tech. Of all the games of the regional finals, I think this one is going to be the closest fought battle. These are two teams that have been top 3 most of the season. It's going to be a very, very tough one. But I think the advantage is going to go to North Dakota because they're playing in their home arena.
And North Dakota against St. Cloud State. Take North Dakota.
And Quinnipiac, Michigan Tech. I think Quinnipiac's runs over just about there, so we'll go Mich Tech. We have Quinnipiac versus Tech, and I believe Tech is going to get into the finals for an old WCHA Frozen Four.
North Dakota, St. Cloud State. Again, we've mentioned the WCHA, the old WCHA. A battle here between two good programs. We're going to go with North Dakota over St. Cloud State.
Next, Mankato against Boston College. That's another very good matchup. This one's tough. I think I'm going to go with Boston College.
Obviously, Denver is going to beat Minnesota State.
All right, Minnesota State and BC in the 3rd round. Let's go BC.
Coming out of that top bracket there, I am going to go with Miami.
And I think Mankato is going to make it into the final, the Frozen Four versus the Golden Gophers.
So BU against North Dakota. I'm going to go with BU in this one, just because of Jack Eichel, just because the team I think will be rolling by this point, and just because they're playing in their home arena.
North Dakota, sorry, Bo, is going to beat DU.
And BU, Michigan Tech. We'll go Michigan Tech. I'm not sure if that's an upset or not, but.
And then Minnesota, North Dakota. This is one that I'm happy to say I will, with a smile, choose North Dakota.
BU-BC National Championship hasn't happened since 1978. Last time it happened, BU won. The final, I think, is going to go to BU.
On the 10-year anniversary of our national championship against them 10 years ago, I got Denver over North Dakota 4-1. So, University of Denver Pioneers be your national champions.
The game's in Boston. It's at TD Garden. I think you got to go with the hometown favorites. BC or Michigan Tech. Let's go 4-2 for BC. National championship game. Maybe this is the perfect bracket right here. The $1 billion bracket. And then, of course, the Gophers are going to win. in a close 4-3 battle. Golden Gophers on top all the way.
And then in the final game, North Dakota versus Miami, I will go with the old WCHA team again. North Dakota has a long-standing tradition at that program, a proud tradition there. And again, it goes back to the blood of the old WCHA. So we have North Dakota winning. The score will be 4-2 with an empty netter.
So this is my college hockey bracket. You can go to the Gladiators social media websites, Facebook, on Twitter, or even on the Gladiators website. Download your own bracket, fill it out however you choose, and then just take a picture of it, or you can send your picks back to the Gladiators social media accounts. We'll tally up the scores, and then we'll have a leaderboard going. Just make sure that you submit your picks before Friday at noon, because the first game of the NCAA hockey tournament is at 2 o'clock. So if you get it in by noon, we can have enough time to tally things up and get things going in terms of the scoreboard. Well, that's it. Good luck.